Hey, if you don't know me, my name is David Stoltz. I run a real estate media agency here out of Portland, Maine, and I want to share with you today what I think are the most important things I've learned over 4.5 years of running my agency. We just hit seven figures in our first 7 figures in a year, our first time this year. And I don't say that to brag. I just, we have an incredible team and we've been blessed with some really cool opportunities. But I just say that to share with you that we have done some things right. We have figured some things out. I've learned a lot. And I just want to share with you today, if I was going back 4 years after being 6 months in business, considering if I wanted to try to hire and what that would look like, these are the things I would want to know. And I think I learned some really valuable things over the course of 4 years, thousands of dollars, lots of mistakes. So what we're going to cover today, first is types of real estate media businesses, stages of growth, mindset, and systems. And then breaking down those systems, we've got offer, operations, sales and marketing, talent, and training. Let's dive into it. I've really titled this Advice for My Less Experienced Self. This time 4 years ago, like I said, I was 8 months into the business. I was starting to grow, and I think this was a real inflection point for me and for my business, even though I didn't know it yet. So I'm really going to be speaking to this type of person right now. So if you are just launching your business, probably not going to be for you. If you are really, down the road 5-6 years and you have a small team, I'm sure you'll learn some things in here. There's a lot in here, but really this is targeted for people who are looking to grow their agency and figure out what that path looks like. So this is what I wish I knew 4 years ago. First, we're going to get into the type of media businesses out there. In my opinion, these are sort of the three main categories. The cool thing about this, you can do it however you want, but these are what I see are the three main categories. And this is for someone who is a real estate photographer and is looking to, again, kind of branch out or further themselves along. So you probably do real estate photography, maybe some video. For next steps, I think these are your three options. Number one is the expert. And this is the person who does really, really incredible photo and video work. You're staying solo, so it's just you. But when you are the expert, there's a reason that agents want to work with just you because you deliver an incredible quality of photo or video. You're probably doing architectural stuff, some branding work, and this is a great spot to be. You can crush it and make tons of money here. I think this is a great niche for a lot of people, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Generally, you can offer something that even larger agencies can't compete with unless they have someone like you. Maybe that's the owner or the founder, but you have an edge as the expert, and there's nothing wrong with that. Number two, I call the mill. I think this is for, or this kind of defines agencies that do a lot of volume. And volume's their thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. But they have a really defined service that they offer. You want them to do something outside the box, they're probably not doing it. This is a great business model if you just want to do the traditional stuff and do a lot of it. Last is the agency. This is where I think my business falls. And really, I think this is the photography business that starts to become a true marketing agency and offer other services and provide other things that agents really need to grow their business. They're a true marketing agency for the real estate industry. So this video is going to really speak to some systems for if you want to grow like a real estate agency mill, a real estate mill, or more of the agency model. Again, there's tons of different ways you can do it, but this video will be most helpful to the second two. I'm not going to be diving into video, photo, technical things like that. So if you want to be the expert, this video is not for you. We are going to be talking about number two and number three here. The first thing to cover is the stages of growth. And this was so helpful for me once I fully grasped how this really worked, how this broke down, and why each stage is so important and what to focus on in that stage. Pretty simple, but let's look at it. Number one, first stage, you're a photographer. Stage two, you've got a small team. Stage 3, your team is now growing. You've got, maybe a medium-sized team, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. Number 4 is you've got a large team. And I've referred to this throughout the video, your stages of growth, because I think how you operate your agency, what things you focus on as an agency owner changes during each of these phases or stages. So remember this, phase 1, 2, 3, and 4, because I'm going to remember it. I'm going to mention it in the video as we move forward. Ultimately, I think for both the mill and the agency model, you want to get here. You want to be fully removed. That's kind of the goal for all business owners, right? You build a team, you build systems and processes, and then eventually you are freed up to work either on things that are going to help you to continue to grow or buy some of your time back. That's a huge thing. That's one thing I really want to do. I also want to help improve the agency, but I think that's the goal. And I think from just launched, you're doing everything, to, you graduated stage 4, you're fully removed. There's a lot in there. So a couple things to point out. 2, you're growing the small team. You've got a few people. 3, I think is a true inflection point when you could get stuck here. I think a lot of agency owners get stuck here. And then number 4, you are starting to do the pyramid a little bit, and you've got some people underneath you. You're building a large team. So we'll jump into more of these things here. Let's talk about when you get stuck and what I think is really the trap for a lot of agency owners. You're a photographer, you're making great money. You start to hire on. You've got a flat organization. The pros, you're making great money. The cons, it's impossible to scale at this point. The reason is that when you are a flat organization, you have photographers out there taking photo, doing video. You've probably got some editors. Everything's running great. But you are doing everything else. You are doing admin work, day-to-day operations, handling special shoots or one-offs. You're trying to build some systems. You're trying to do training. You're trying to hire. You're trying to market. And you might still be shooting, and I was, until we hit 4 or 5 photographers. You get trapped. As you start to grow, you just get trapped because the volume of all of this work starts to increase, and it really balloons very quickly. And especially if you don't have great systems in place and you try to grow too quickly, you really can get trapped. That's the experience I went through. And a lot of what I've written down here is to help you avoid that and grow effectively. We've considered the stages of growth. Let's keep going. And one action item here for the stages of growth is being honest with yourself. Where do you want to grow? Going back to that first types of real estate businesses, don't let anyone tell you this is how you should grow, or you see someone else doing a certain business and think, oh, that's what I should do. The grass can always be greener, but I would be really honest with yourself. Where do you want to go in your business? And as an agency owner, what type of work do you enjoy? What's the vision that you have for your agency? And what's your area of excellence? I think this is a great thing for everyone to consider and head in that direction. Are you a good business person? Are you a good operations person? Are you a good sales person? Or are you an incredible photographer and videographer? And this doesn't mean that's the only place you can go, but it is a great thing to consider and help guide you through that process. Again, I think there can be incredible businesses, and you can grow quite large and do very well as a single shooter, as the expert. You can grow at volume if you want. And I think the agency model, like what we've done, has been a great fit for us, for my vision, for my area of expertise, and all that kind of stuff. Take some time to consider that. Before you decide, I want to share a little bit about how I arrived at that place for myself. So this next section is mindset. And I think this is what you truly believe is possible. In your mind, that's what your mindset is, what you believe is possible. I didn't believe I could actually start my own agency and make $60,000 and replace my old salary. I had to have a very honest conversation with someone and say, well, what kind of business can I start to actually make that kind of money? And he'd been really successful in what he was doing. And he looked at me and said, 1,000? And I was looking for sympathy, and I got none. And that helped change my mindset to, I know this guy knows what he's talking about, and I need to think of this more seriously and not have this little pity party for myself that I'm stuck in a corporate job. May 2021. This is the photo of my first property. Pretty wild. All right, let's keep going. So I started the business. We were growing. It was great. I had replaced my income, and I kind of got a little stuck at that point. I wasn't sure where I really wanted to go. I truly didn't believe that I could actually grow the agency beyond potentially $20,000 a month. I started working with a coach. And again, he was doing $40,000 a month, and that just blew my mind. But it changed my mind for what I actually believed was possible. And from there, we hired, we grew, and 6 months later, we hit a $42,000 a month. Wild, blew my mind. And at this point, I realized I wanted that level 4 business. I started to figure out where I wanted to go, but I didn't really have exactly what I needed to know to make that happen. We'll talk about that. Level 3. We'd done our $40,000 a month. We were slowly growing, and I sort of fell into the same thing again. I didn't really believe we could continue to grow. I worked with another coach. They were doing $100,000 months. I thought, incredible. I still didn't see myself ever doing it, but I started to believe it could happen. I started to see, oh, you're going to have 4, probably 5, 6 photographers, maybe 7. All right. I started to understand what it could look like. And so we did it. And a year and a half ago, we hit our first 6-figure month, not quite, but pretty close, $98,000 in May of 2024. I wish I could say, this was our happily ever after story, but this is another big passion of mine, is that we grew. And sure, like, you see these stories on social media, like, woo, look at them go, and they grew and everything's amazing now. They've got this hugely successful agency. But to be honest, I was really in a hard place, a tough place when we hit that goal, because my entire focus had been on that monthly revenue figure. Grow, grow, grow. This is what those guys are doing. That's what the coaches are selling. Like, oh, I can grow. It's going to be successful. It's going to be incredible. And that is not how I felt. There was a little spark of, wow, we did it. But it was so hard on me. It was so hard on our team, because we had been growing and trying to grow without the proper systems in place. And the business nearly fell apart. We did 98,000, cool, but it was falling apart. We weren't screwing up tons of orders, but like there was so many things going on that the team wasn't happy. I wasn't really happy. And for what? To push toward a revenue number. Now we had a team we had to support. We had overhead expenses. We had all these things happening that we had to continue to pay for. So we had to support this business moving forward now. And it was just not a smart move. And I realized my motivation was not in the right place. And I had missed what I really should have been focused on. And that was growing a sustainable business. Because at the end of the day, if you can't enjoy it and be proud of it and stand behind kind of the direction that you're moving and why, your mission and your vision, the revenue isn't going to mean anything to you. That's why I'm so passionate about you deciding what's right for you and for your agency, because no revenue number is going to make you happy. I promise you. Action item for this mindset section is to really consider what's motivating you right now. Is it a healthy motivation, or are you just chasing a monthly revenue number? Because, like I said, it's not gonna fix or solve or bring you any sort of happiness or peace, because it comes and it goes. It's easy. It's easy to pick it out and say, oh, I'm gonna push toward this. That's my goal. I'm not saying it's always wrong, but for me, it was not the right focus. It was just an easy thing for me to go after, and I missed the important stuff. The reason why we really had that disconnect of like, oh, we are growing so fast and things are falling apart, is because I did not understand how significantly my role needed to change from that level 1 business owner to that level 2. And again, level 4 might not be for you. I'm not saying everyone needs to try to fully remove themselves. That's what I'm going after. That's what I think I can help you on. But we're going to talk about that transition across stages moving forward. But I think the first thing we need to look at is, what does that level 4 agency look like, and how do you make your way across those stages? So we're going to jump into some things and break down level 4 and then how we can get there and build our business. A level 4 agency has well-defined services that are profitable, an operational structure where everyone has a role and every task has a process, a strategy and plan to get new clients, the ability to recruit new talent, and a process to onboard and train them. If you can do these 4 things, you're going to be crushing it. I know they probably seem pretty simple, but if you're an agency owner and you're in the middle of it right now, you know how hard in reality all of these can be. But this is what we're going to break down in our systems, and hopefully this will bring you some clarity. An level 4 agency is built on systems. If you forget everything else, remember, systems run the business and people run the systems. Systems run the business and people run the systems. This clicked for me at some point over the past 4 years, and it really helped make all the difference. The only way to truly remove yourself from your business is through rock solid systems. If you think of, any sort of manufacturing facility, you have the production line. You have the systems that, it goes through this stage and this stage and this stage, and then out at the other end pops the candy bar or whatever. And without each part of the process, without the machinery, without everything in place to help that candy bar get made and wrapped and delivered, it's not going to work. In a sense, this is what you are trying to build for your agency, and until you do, you will not be able to step out. But we're going to talk about that. We're really going to dive into systems here, and we're going to talk about this so heavily because of what we just mentioned. If your goal is to buy back your time or build an agency and free up your time to do something else, this is the only way to do it. For every part of your business, you need systems in place. So we're going to talk through all this stuff, but I just want you to know that this is largely focused on that, because if your goal is to step out, it's the only way to do it. And I didn't really get at first why it was so important. I saw the path to grow by kind of sidestepping really well-built systems. I didn't want to invest time. I didn't want to slow down. But I promise you, if your end goal is starting to remove yourself and buying back your time, systems are the only way to get there. At level 1, when it's just you, systems don't exist. At level 2, you start to build systems for your core tasks: how to take photos, how to take video, how to edit videos. At level 3, you are building robust systems for every task. Every task. Because when someone has a question, they're going to ask you, and when you're doing more and more and more of these every day or every week, you're going to be the bottleneck unless you have systems for every task. I've been there. When we had all these one-offs, well, how about this or how about that? Well, David, you got to answer this or that. It's overwhelming. So every task needs a system. That's where you're at in level 3. Level 4, your systems are fully built and you continue to build and continue to be built and improved without you. This is like the final, like you built a system for the system kind of thing. And we are getting there, but for the most part, we have SOPs for everything. When something comes up, someone doesn't know a question, I make an SOP about it. That's the best way to go about it if you are kind of in this, level 2, level 3, trying to get to level 4 phase, in my opinion. Next, we're going to talk about your systems, different buckets that I've created for systems at a high level. Let's do it. The first one is offer. These are the services that you offer. Again, depending on what your agency looks like, these can be different. These do not all have to be the same. I am not going to try to prescribe a set of services you should offer as an agency. Look at yourself, look at your team. That's largely how we've continued to kind of like branch out and grow our agency. Who do we have that's really good at something? And I'm going to say this, and this is something I continue to learn. Businesses that are successful do one thing really well. They could do multiple things, but you can't be successful unless you are good at something. I know it sounds so simple, but I keep getting back to this point. To be good, to be successful, you need to do one thing really well. And until you do that, you can't market, you can't build systems, you can't expand. Focus on doing something really well. This is something I've created that I call the value levers. And I think this is how we create value for our clients as real estate media experts. You have your creative. Are your photos real bad? I could do better on my iPhone. Or are they, I've never seen something this incredible. Client experience. Are you answering that phone call? Are you calling back within half an hour? Or can your clients not get a hold of you? They can't get a hold of you. This person's my best friend. We're BFFs, whatever. Cost. $2,500 per video. You're crazy. I don't know how, I only paid you $1 and I got back a full set of photos, right? So everyone here, everyone watching this, myself included, we are all somewhere across this spectrum. And I think that we all offer a certain level of value for our clients. And the way to add value is to maximize these services that you offer. Now, I'll say creative. I think this can also be like your services. If you offer the full, and maybe it's client experience, but like, do you offer Matterport? Do you offer floor plans? Do you offer headshots? Do you offer marketing videos? Do you offer branding? The more you can expand it, I think the more your creative, your client experience improves. If you have an admin, if you're great to work with, client experience is such an underrated thing in my opinion, so underrated. If people love working with you, they will bring you back. They would rather work with someone with a better client experience and have a little bit of a lower quality photo. I promise you. Anyways, and then your cost. So let's change our color here real quick. If you figure out how to crack the code, if you are offering, I guess we should flip this around. Cost, let's say it's a 10. 10 is good. 10 is good. If you are charging $1 for a group of photos, if your client experience is off the charts, people call you, you answer on the first ring, you text them back as they're still typing to you, whatever. Your creative is next level. You've got cinematographers on your team. You will get every client. People will never stop singing your praises. This is unrealistic, but you want to figure out where your strengths and weaknesses are and how you can continue to increase the value that you are offering to your clients. That is how you win, when you offer more value. And I think these are the three main categories for breaking down and defining your value. I think structure for us, we have tried to pick a price point that we know is accepted across the industry. That's how I got started. And I have always done my best to keep client experience as high as possible. That's the standard I've set for my team. And then I feel like our creative, is here, and we're slowly improving the quality of our creative. So we're always trying to maximize value. And I think that's been a huge piece of how we've been able to be successful. Those are the value levers for your offer. I know I call this a system, but I do think, defining, breaking down, structuring your offers has to be a system. You need to have, if you just have someone calls you and you're recreating your service, your product, your package, whatever, every time, you really don't have a system down. And so you need to systematize your offer. You need to define them well, build packages. And this is the core of what you offer. And I think ideally you're going to figure out your margins for each of these and make sure that you're making money, because if you're not making money, there's no use doing it. So action item is figure out where you are on this spectrum and consider how you can create more value for your clients. Adding a new service, improving a service, improve first, add new things later. Generally, it's not going to be lowering your cost. Generally, it's going to be improving your creative, improving your client experience in little ways. It can make a huge difference in your value. The last thing, level 4 offers offer strong value. They do. I promise you, any agency that's doing really well has found a way to offer value. And I think that's where you ultimately get to that, the expert, the incredible cinematographer, because they're offering a 10 out of 10 creative. Their client experience might be at a 2. They might be hard to get a hold of. Their cost might be a 1 or a 2, but because their creative is so good, they're getting business. Or for us, as our more of an agency, we have different, I think our creative's high because we have different services. We have a variety of services, a great client experience and a reasonable cost. But then the mill, their creative probably isn't as high, but they've got a great experience and probably a really good price for what you're getting. Let's move on. The next system we're talking about is operations, how things get done. As a single photographer, shooter, whatever, you probably don't even think about this. I know I didn't. And for me, I didn't want to waste time. And I loved being able to, change things on the fly and improvise and add new things here or there. And I think that did add value as I was growing, but it quickly became an incredibly difficult operational situation for the rest of the team when I would do things like that. I realized over time, wasting a lot of time, that having a strong operations, a strong service, and then operations for how things get done allows you to deliver something that's uniform for clients so they can order again and again and again and work with different people and get the same thing back. And this is how your team doesn't go crazy when they know what to do and when they know how things get done. Zooming in here, you first need to have roles. So who does what? And then an SOP, how does that thing get done? And again, going back to it, systems run the business and people run the systems. The person does the thing. They need to know what the thing is that they're doing. Then they need to know how to do the thing. It's as simple as that. But in practice, it takes a lot of time. Our SOPs, standard operating procedure. We have a database for all of our different SOPs. We started out with basically a Google Doc with login information and here's how you do this or make sure to do this. Very unorganized, very ineffective. We moved to Notion and we have a database now of here's everything that the creatives need to know how to do, our photographers. Here's everything the administrator needs to know how to do. Here's everything the virtual assistant needs to know how to do. Of course, they all have roles, but when it comes to here's how to upload photos, here's how to do a virtual twilight photo, here's how to do a floor plan, everything gets documented because if you have someone step into the business, a new person come on, you want to be able to point them in the direction, give them a standard, and then hold that standard across the team. This is really important, especially as you grow, as you say, oh, we're going to do our videos a different way now. We're going to add this fun thing to it. Unless you have these standard operating procedures documented, and then you can update it and point people to that and say, this is how we're doing it moving forward, it's going to be chaos. Ask me how I know. So what does this look like? This can be something as simple as using a Loom video. If you haven't used Loom before, it's a screen recording software. I've made tons of these for our SOPs. You record your screen, you say, click here, click here, click here, submit, you're done. Your SOP can be as simple as that, but I promise you it's helpful to have it all documented. For how to edit a video, this is a multi-page SOP with lots of videos, how to shoot photos, how to edit photos, multi-page SOP, as granular as I can get. Things still get missed. Anyways, get granular if you want to really build an effective operating system. At level 2, you'll probably have some docs like we talked about, but you want to have an SOP for everything. From the time someone schedules, they go online, they call you, whatever, to the time the content is delivered, everything from A to Z. Have that documented. Again, it's going to take time, but that is the goal. At level 4, you have examples, you have instructions, you have assets, timelines, templates, a QA process, an automation setup. Again, it's going to take time, but when you, at least for me, I had to shift how I was thinking. If I really want to step out of the business, build a business, and buy back my time, you have to have all these things because this is how well-run businesses operate. At level 4, each person knows exactly what to do, when to do it, and how it should be done. Your action item for this section is to start a database, start somewhere, and make one SOP. For you, this might be, here's how we interact with the client. We show up, we say hi, we review the order with them, we ask them if they've prepped the house. Whatever it is, start by getting a database and then make one SOP. That's how you get started. It can seem like an incredibly difficult, overwhelming task. Start with one. I promise you, start with one. It gets easier after that. Sales and marketing. All right, I know this is going to be a popular section, and my take is going to be a little bit different. So, this is my opinion. You might not agree with it. That's fine. I think this is going to be very helpful for some people because it's different, because, in my opinion, it's a little honest. So here's the first thing. Seth Godin said something like, really good products don't need much marketing because happy customers can't help but sing your praises. Sorry if you can't read that. I have trouble reading it. Think about that. If you've had the most incredible candy bar or drink, or you buy a new jacket, whatever the case is, if it is 10 out of 10, out of this world experience, you're going to tell someone. If it's an incredible value, if you find a product that you like at half the price and better quality than whatever you'd normally been using, you're going to tell people. This goes back to your value levers, right? If you are adding enough value, people tell other people, especially in the real estate industry. Don't underestimate the power of true value. If you're providing that to your clients, it does not take long, I promise. It still takes time, of course, right? Not every agent has a listing every day. It takes time. But I think for us, in all honesty, we did not do a whole lot of marketing. And did we have the most incredible thing? No, but I think we really did offer a true level of value, a step up from the competitors out there. And I think that's why we grew so quickly. So before you think, I need to just find the new marketing thing, consider that. Because I think if your value is lower than your competitors, no amount of marketing is going to work long-term, in my opinion. You might be able to get a couple of clients in the door, get some photos, but if it's not a good service, if you're not doing a great job, you're not going to be able to grow. So there's that. Think about that first. Something else to consider here. Think about the value levers, right? What can happen as you grow? I'm going to focus on this box here. Your volume goes up. You got a ton of clients, but your systems start to break, which causes your value to go down. If you are not delivering videos on time anymore because you are doing so many, your client experience goes from an 8 to a 4. Your value has dropped if your prices aren't changing. None of us are changing our prices at that point. Your value has gone down. And now you might be tempted to think, I've got a marketing problem because my business isn't growing. But you've really got an operations problem because you can't keep clients, because you're not delivering, you're not providing a good experience. Or if you have other photographers who aren't trained and they're not delivering very good photos, you have an operations problem and a training problem. You don't have a marketing problem. So you need to consider these things. Don't consider marketing in a vacuum. Consider how your agency is functioning. And you are ready to grow and market when your business is operating well. Like a good, healthy car. When the engine's running well, when suspension and tire, everything's good, you're ready to take off and go faster. But if you're almost broken down, trying to step on the gas is not the right thing, and it's not going to work long term. The goal for any agency is to be able to get new clients consistently so that you can keep your agency growing. This is your ever-changing social media game plan. So this is the actual game plan for marketing. The other stuff was my advice before you try to implement this. This is the advice for, I've got a great operating agency. I'm ready to grow. Let's go. All right, one by one here. Post on social. First, I got to say this. I'm sorry. I meant to make a note of this. Your goal in your marketing, I believe, yes, you want to get new clients. Overall, the goal is to grow your audience and build trust. Because as much as we'd like to think there's an agent waiting with a listing ready to go and they see your ad and they call you up, that is generally not going to be the case. And if it is, that's probably not the agent who's doing a high volume. Most agents don't have listings every day. They come over time. You want to attract an audience and continue to build trust so that when they get that call, when they get that new listing, they are going to call you up and they're going to go with you. It takes time, but you are trying to build a reputation. You are not trying to sell someone on the first call. That's my advice. That's my plan. That's my approach. It's just not like an e-commerce brand. First step is to post on social media. This is, if you want to grow an audience, you need to be able to have them follow you somewhere. And I think that's why Instagram has been so popular and done so well, because it's such a great platform to, again, gain followers and be able to reach those followers every time you post. Facebook's just not as popular anymore. And something like TikTok, sure, YouTube, they can definitely have their benefits. But I think for growing an audience, Instagram is the best platform right now. Post your work, post who you are. I think getting out there, getting content out there is much more important than getting everything perfect. I posted a lot of videos when I got started and they weren't great, but the reception was incredible from agents that I would talk with saying, hey, I saw your video and I love that you're getting on camera. It modeled what I was encouraging them to do. More on that in a little bit. Outreach on social. You can send cold messages, engage with every new follower that you get, and follow people and comment and make an offer to do a free video, offer to do something different, especially if you have that value edge that someone else doesn't have. If you can say, hey, I can do professional headshots at your next shoot with flash, with whatever that no other real estate photographer is doing, you've got an edge. If you're doing a different type of video or if you're doing whatever else, that free offer will get traction. Run ads. We talked about this. Have a simple offer. Hopefully there's value there. Create a really simple video talking to the camera. Hey, real estate agents in Central Michigan, I am offering X, Y, and Z at your first shoot. Here's a discount. Send me a message, whatever. Run an ad. It does not have to be super in-depth. Just get something out there. In person. This is super simple, but I think so effective. Stop in an office, introduce yourself, say hi. Number 5, events and networking. I think one of the best things to do, go into an office and say, hey, at your next agency event or networking event, I'd love to come take some photos for you and do it at no charge just to give something back, provide some free work, whatever. At those events, you will meet all the agents. We have agencies pay us to go and take photos of their events. Hate to say it, but if someone came and said, hey, I'll do your photos at no charge or do a video of your event at no charge, they'd probably take them up on it. And that's going to be a great way for someone else to get in the door with new agents and agencies. Action item for marketing. Spend an hour and think about 5 things that your clients could do to help your clients could do to help their business. Then record a video for each one. This is how I started, and this was so huge. I made a video about, hey, agents, here's why you need to show up on camera. Again, this was 4 years ago. Record some videos and share value. Share value for agents at no charge. That's how you're going to gain those followers and build that trust. It worked so well. The videos weren't great. I was so nervous. I hated watching them, but agents liked them, and that built my reputation for my agency. If you really don't have anything on social media, start with a video about yourself. Hey, I'm David. I'm a real estate photographer in the area. I've been doing this. And don't be afraid to be the new guy, the underdog. As long as you have good work, sometimes agents and agencies like working with the new person. It's not a bad thing. So lean into your story. People love a story. They want a reason to buy in and trust you. So post on social media, spend some time, get away from everything for a little bit, and just think about, what does this person need to know? What does that real estate real estate agent need to post? How could they improve their social media presence? Pick 5 things, speak for 30 seconds, and post them and see what happens. If you are doing all of those things and they don't work, you need to add more value. But I would think most people have not done that. I've talked with a lot of agency owners who've said, how do I get more business? How do I grow? Like, I'm growing just myself. And we'll talk about, cold outreach or running an offer, or stopping an office to say hi. And they'll say, well, I sent 50 agents a message and I haven't heard anything. I hired a VA. That was my first hire. And that was the first thing I did was we started finding agents on Instagram. And maybe you've done this, but I believe we sent every agent in the state of Maine, probably 5,000 DMs over the course of months. The feedback was low, as expected, but I got messages, I got responses. Still to this day, I'll get responses 3, 4 years later. Crazy. And again, it's just a timing thing, but it starts that connection. And you'll hit agents at the right time if you send enough messages. Hey, I actually just had a listing come up. I'd love to give you a shot. Doesn't always happen, rarely happens, but I think that is a great way to at least get started. If nothing works, find a way to add more value. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I know it takes time. I know you're spending your time not making money, but when you can improve your services, that will just launch you into a pathway to grow a big business. Talent and training. This will probably be the biggest challenge you will face for 2 reasons. The form of your business is changing and your function as an owner has shifted. Think about it. When you're going from, I'm the photographer doing all the listings, to now I'm hiring and managing a team. When you have a team of 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 10, you are no longer a shooter. You are a full-time manager and business owner. Your role has shifted entirely. And I didn't realize that when I went from a solo shooter to now I have a team and I have someone else on the team, my role had to shift, but I didn't want to. I wanted to keep going out and shooting and making money, but it needs to shift if you want to grow. A level 4 agency knows how to find candidates the right way, hire for culture, and effectively onboard and train them. Once hired, you need to have an onboarding checklist. I've got them on all these softwares. They've got their gear. They have their logins. They have whatever. And then you can get even more in depth into a training checklist, but at least an onboarding checklist. You have your SOP library ready to go because you've been diligent, you've been getting granular, and you have all those to provide. Our method for training is tell, show, and watch. Have them come on site with you. As you're shooting, tell them what you're doing, and then give them the camera. Now you're showing them what to do. Here's how you set up. Here's how you take this shot. Go here, go here, go here. And then you are going to step back and watch, and you're basically there as support. And this has worked really well for us. You have to be patient. It takes time. The larger our agency gets, the more in-depth our services get, the longer it takes. Hiring and training is expensive, but losing clients is more expensive. Continued content review. Once we send them off, let them fly on their own, we are reviewing photos each day for a number of weeks or months. For videos, same thing. I used to think when I got someone trained that they were good to go. I didn't have to hold their hand anymore. That's a mistake because it's so difficult to see every scenario the first day. I promise you, I'm sorry, not the first day, the first few months, weeks, whatever, however long your training is, you will not see everything. And no one can just pick up all the details that quickly. I promise you, reviewing photos every day will save you client complaints. You will help them improve every single day when you look through their photos, send them a 10-minute video, reviewing, critiquing, encouraging, all those things. So helpful. Then for training, we do a weekly training. Every week, I write up a brief half an hour, 1 hour training for our team. I prepare it, I send it along to them, and they review it. It's allowed us to tighten up our services, really offer a consistent product service for all of our clients, and make changes, iterate, get better, and offer new services. So the weekly training has been so helpful for us. Closing thoughts. Your ability to scale is fully dependent on your ability to utilize your free time in the right ways. This is why I think it was so helpful for me to have a coach at a couple different stages of my agency, because when you go from that stage 1, you're a solo photographer, to a stage 2 and to a stage 3, you suddenly have all of these things you need to do. You have processes you need to build, marketing that needs to be done, admin work, finances, all of these things at an increasing rate and volume. Your free time is so small, but the only way out of it is to build systems with your free time, and you have to build the right systems. That's why it's so important to work with someone who's done this before, so they can say, hey, I know you've only got a couple hours of free time each day or each week. First, do an SOP for how your video should be edited so that your editors can get more efficient and you can improve your delivery time, and you can stop doing this or that and you get time back. Or, hey, you have to hire. You're booked out for 2 weeks. You need to hire. Put time into, here's how we're going to hire someone, here's how we're going to train them. Maybe to stay competitive, you need to offer a new service. You need to focus all of your time on creating that service, documenting that service, training your team on that service. And that's how you're going to grow your agency. You need someone who can come in with an outside perspective and guide you through that if you want to grow as quickly as possible. There's no reason you need to hire anyone. You can continue doing what you're doing. But for me, that's why coaching was so important. I hope this video has been helpful for you. I hope you've learned something. If you have questions, please leave a comment. I read all the comments. I have enjoyed immensely this process. There's definitely been some days I thought, I don't know why I decided to do this, but overall, I've learned so much. I've grown through it. And that's what's been important to me, is to figure out how I can grow personally and how I can add value to my clients and my team. It's been a wonderful thing. It's been hard, but I know that it's been better by having people help me along the way. So these are the things that I've learned. I hope they can help you. If you have questions, please reach out to me on Instagram @my name, David Stultz. Talk to you soon.